There are two types of text structure that we're going to talk about today. The first kind is compare and contrast. This means how are things similar and how are they different. There are many signal words that can be used to explain compare and contrast. Three signal words that you may hear are however, although, and as well as. This story is an example of compare and contrast. Can you figure out why? A jackrabbit uses its strong hind feet to hop quickly away from danger. Small front feet help it balance. A walrus's toes have webbing to help it swim. It paddles with its back flippers and steers with its front flippers. Both articles are talking about an animal's feet exactly. We can see here that we have the jackrabbit's feet. Here we have the walrus's feet. The thing that makes them different, though, is that a jackrabbit likes to hop, whereas a walrus likes to swim. This story is an example of compare and contrast. Can you figure out why? It says the Inuit who lived in the cold Arctic region spent part of the year living in igloos. Igloos were temporary homes like teepees. However, they were built for the cold winter months, whereas a teepee could be used year-round. Both teepees and igloos had one main room that the family lived in and were usually made for a single family. Teepees and igloos were made of very different materials. Igloos were made from blocks of snow stacked on top of each other, while teepees were made from buffalo hide, tree bark, or grass. The shape of teepees and igloos was also different. Teepees were cone-shaped, using 3 or 4 poles for support. In contrast, igloos were dome-shaped. Can you find something in this story that makes them the same? Both teepees and igloos had one main room that the family lived in. So right here, both teepees and igloos had one main room that the family lived in. But something that makes them different. Can you find something that makes them different? Igloos were made of very different material. Igloos were made from blocks of snow, while teepees were made from buffalo hide. This makes them different. Did you happen to see any key words when you read? How about however, both, and also in contrast? These are key words that could help you understand this story is about comparing and contrasting. The second type of text structure is sequence. This means over time or steps. So think about the order of something. Again, there are many signal words for sequence. These are just a few examples. 4 signal words that you may hear are first, second, next, and finally. This story is an example of sequence. Can you figure out why? Listen to me read part of the story and try to figure out any keywords that you can see that help us understand this is sequencing. December 25th. For Christmas, my parents bought me a Labrador Retriever puppy. The puppy isn't born yet, though. Our name is on a list with a woman who raises labs. January 25th. The breeder called in January to say that her dog was going to have a litter in March. It seems like such a long time to wait. When I'm reading this story, the first thing I notice is that it uses dates. December 25th, January 25th. This lets me see that this story is talking about being over time. Okay? So I can see that it is sequencing. Other keywords that help me out in this story is that I see January, I see March. Again, these are examples of time. Here's another example of sequencing. Can you figure out why? When he prepares for a meet, the first thing that he does is stretch his muscles and warm up by running in place. Immediately after stretching, then he does 10 push-ups followed by a run-up and down the middle school bleachers. Cameron swam well. He placed first twice and got a third place in the 500-meter butterfly stroke. He truly dominated the relay, getting his team a 2-lap lead by the time he got out of the water. So if we look at only this paragraph, I'm trying to find some key words that show me this story is about sequencing. Remember, sequencing is order or a change over time. So looking at the story, are you able to see any words that show us this is order or change over time? How about the word first? Another example could be then or even after. These are all keywords to help me know that this is sequencing, a change over time.